Alrighty, welcome listeners to another episode of Inspired by Chaos, the podcast that celebrates the beautiful unpredictability of special education. I'm Sophie.
I'm Jordan.
And we are going over today our lights, camera, inclusion, how to plan an inclusive movie event from start to finish. And this has been a long-awaited one.
No, for sure.
I think we wanted to do it after our first movie event.
Yeah.
And we did not.
No.
But now we've done it, and we've done it bigger, we've done it better, and we're going to tell you how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So the overview of today's episode, we're going to do a step-by-step breakdown of planning the inclusive movie experience for your school or your community. We're going to talk about partnerships, accessibility, sensory considerations, and we're going to kind of reflect on what we think went well, what we would do again, what we maybe wouldn't do again. And then make sure you stay tuned because we have a Q&A at the end to answer all of your burning questions about our inclusive movie day. So we can talk about really quickly before we get into the nitty gritty of it, why we started this.
Yeah. It's funny because I think we go on so many field trips. We try, obviously, when we're planning field trips to make them inclusive, to find spaces that are inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
And we knew we wanted to try a movie thing, but it's funny because we had started with the idea of having a big movie day where other schools came to our school and we were going to have a movie day in the gym.
Yeah. It started off small.
Yeah. And we were going to do to be honest, you could do this if like a movie theater is an option for you.
Yeah, exactly.
But we were going to start with we were going to have like a little mock concession stand and still have a sensory space and do all of these things, but in the comfort of our gym, right?
Yeah, and I think it just grew, and I don't even know how it grew. I remember we had a conversation at one point. So just to point out, our first year that we did this not this past June, but the June before, we had 96 people attend, and that was including staff and stuff, and that felt huge to us.
It did.
It was too much for us to be able to manage in our gym just because of the needs of the students in the space that we wanted. And this past year, we hit 400 people.
Yes.
So we went from taking over one little theater at our local theater to basically overtaking Landmark Cinema.
Yeah.
But
it was amazing.
It was so good. But I remember we had a conversation where more people were showing interest, and more people. And we were like, do we stop? Do we not take any more people? And then I was like, no, take them. If people want to be here, then we want to have this. And then I remember me saying to Jordan, why don't we do multiple days? And she goes, I don't know. You told me you didn't want to do multiple days. And I was like, you're right. Because it's so much work.
It is.
And it was a lot of volunteer work on our part, which no complaints because we love to run inclusive events, but the time and effort that goes into planning this thing was insane.
Yeah. And you want to say, you're not going to work when you're not at work.
Yeah.
But that's not realistic.
No.
We obviously tried to take little down times when we found them at work.
Snack time, choice time.
Yeah. To be able to sit and get through as much as we possibly could with planning. But when we tell you about the planning, you'll be like, how
did this happen? Yeah. So then, and also we've spoken about this before, but one of us is on a bus in the morning and one of us is on a bus in the afternoon. So we never had a time for the two of us to sit down and plan.
Yeah.
It was voice noting each other while the other person's already driving home and that person's got back from the bus early. There was no time for us to sit down and actually plan this thing. But it was important to us to do it. Obviously we wanted to support inclusion in our community and partner with people in our community who wanted to make a difference and wanted to make it work for us. And we'll talk about the partners that we had were fantastic. And we just really wanted to provide safe, accessible fun for not only the students, but for the staff and for the families, which was awesome that we had some families, some parents come out. And I just think our goal was fun for everybody.
Yes.
And safety for everybody. Yeah. And I think that it just went so well.
Oh, it was fully achieved.
I think so. Yeah. I felt so good at the end of it. So let's get into the planning phase. The planning phase was
intense.
It was so intense. So obviously the first thing we had to look for a theater partner. We went with the same partner that we did the year before. We had explored a few different places and, they have a school rate. But what we were looking for was different.
Yeah.
We didn't want just one theater with I don't know, specific one snack option. We really had to make this inclusive.
Yeah.
I think it was your idea to ask for a second theater that wouldn't be playing a movie.
Yes.
But a sensory space so that, students could escape and take a break.
Yeah.
Because breaks are incredibly important, especially when you're throwing these kids into an environment that they've never been before.
Never been in, yeah. And we wanted somewhere where if the, you know, the colors on the screen or even though we work to have everything like the sensory part of things be good for these kids, like we still knew that there was potential for kids to be overstimulated and need a break, especially being around that many other kids and people in general. So we knew we needed a space where like if they needed just somewhere quiet to go, that was available. So
that was really important to us. And there's not a lot of places that were willing to give up a theater for that specific reason, just because they were like, well, we could be screening, we could be making money. And at the end of the day, like that was not our goal and it didn't align with what we wanted. So we did end up partnering with Landmark Cinemas Whitby. The first year was fantastic. And the second year was even better. But we just couldn't believe how accessible and inclusive they were and just listened to everything that we requested of them. And we did have like a list of things. We were like, we need the volume lower. We need the lights higher. We need to skip the credits. We need to skip the previews. We need
access to the space early so we can set up and be prepared for all of our students.
Exactly. You know? And that meant before they opened so that we could be there ready, having the snack packs ready, like allowing us to get like down and dirty with like the workers, like hands in the popcorn, like getting all these things ready. Like they were just so inclusive. And like, I will like shout it from the rooftops. We will use them every year and they're fantastic in general. Like it just went so smoothly. And even their staff were like, what do you need from us?
Yeah. Even the staff were like, you know, it was funny because I remember one of the staff at the end saying like, I'm not going to lie, I was scared.
I was scared of the 400 children that were coming in here.
So she was like, I was scared coming in, but like you guys are so organized. And don't get me wrong, the organization came with just tons and tons of our time.
Oh my God. Yeah. Worth it. But I feel like we know how to do it now. Like, I feel like now we almost have like a blueprint of how to do it, which is why we want to talk about this because we feel like we could help other people do this as well.
Yeah. Just like we are trial and error in our classroom. This was trial and error.
Oh my God.
But it's funny because I think we also said we had a blueprint from the year before and this was still
we did not do the same thing at all. But we also had 300 more people. The other option we were saying too, like if this is something that you want to run in your community and you don't have an amazing Landmark Cinemas, there's always the option of like libraries, community centers, independent theaters. Like those places might be more willing to open up their space to you and accommodate. But lucky for us, and it's also such a nice theater.
Yeah.
It's so good. They just renovated it all. They made it super easy, everything for us. Next is obviously selecting the right movie. And like, I'd be lying to you if I said we didn't already look at what's coming out next June.
Yeah.
Because we always kind of want it to be like an end of year celebration. And there always seems to be some kind of children's movie coming out in June, probably because of summer break.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And just using like appropriate themes, but also like developmental appropriateness. And we get feedback from schools about that. Like the first year we did Inside Out, which was so good.
Yeah.
Because it talks about feelings and it's very like social emotional learning. And I was like, oh man, this couldn't have aligned better. I was so happy. I didn't watch a second of it because I heard it was sad though.
Oh,
not that we had a second to sit down.
But honestly, the first year they were also wonderful. I mean, they were wonderful regardless and they did not have to do this, but they gave us tickets because they were like, you guys did so much work and you didn't get to see the movie.
It was so sweet. And they were like, you didn't get to see the movie. Here's an admission. I was like, oh my God, you guys are so sweet. And then this last year we saw Lilo and Stitch. And we made sure, because this year we did include some high school students and we wanted to make sure like when we were choosing a movie that it was developmentally appropriate.
Yeah.
And also, because a lot of people will look at age appropriateness and be like, okay, if we're seeing Lilo and Stitch, then we're not going to invite high school students. And like that's, we just wanted to make sure and not assume that, oh yeah, like they probably like younger movies. Like you don't know that. You don't know that.
Yeah.
You don't know what they like. Maybe they like watching like World War II movies.
We
you
had
have no
a kid
idea.
in our class that liked watching, what's that old?
Oh, what the heck was
we talked about it.
I know.
Oh my goodness, I can't even.
We did have a student who was like obsessed with anything like 70s, 80s, 90s shows.
Yeah. So you just never know.
No, so you have no idea.
Yeah.
So reaching out to those schools, we were able to find out that was a developmentally appropriate movie that those kids would enjoy. So perfect, you're invited, come along. I need to figure out Toy Story. Next June, I believe it's Toy Story that's coming out.
I know, I do think that's what we were talking about,
And we always like prime and prep and let them know what's going to be playing so that they're not like caught off guard or anything like that. And we'll talk about that a bit later. But selecting the movie, like you need to do it in advance.
Yeah.
Because if there's nothing coming out in June that's going to work for our kids, then I guess we pivot and we do it in May or we do it in April or whatever.
Although the one thing I will say is if there aren't any movies coming out in those like few months before the end of school, you can also choose older movies.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. We got like a list of like, I don't know if they were Disney or Pixar or something, but they were available.
Yeah, but there was movies that may have been out before or aren't even in theaters and haven't been for forever. Like you could go through those. It's just obviously we wanted a newer movie because we wanted to capture their attention. And if they've seen it, they may not be as
we were hoping to give them like a new experience or whatever. Budget and funding did not exist for this. The budget and the funding more came from Jordan and I the first 2 times. And that may not always be the case, but as we're trying to gain traction around the event. Yeah. And not that it costed us a lot up front. It really didn't.
No.
And each school was like individually responsible for their admission, for their snacks, and for their busing, their transportation.
And that can look like anything. Like that's, like any other field trip. If you want to reach out to parents and do permission forms and get them, well, you need permission forms. Mm-hmm. But to have them pay for snacks and the movie, or have them pay for snack or the movie, and then school covers the other cost.
Yes, because most of these classes have a budget, and if you're using this as like a life skill opportunity, maybe you're taking public transit. There are some schools that use it as a life skills opportunity, and they use their budget money to take public transit, teaching the students how to use the public transit to get to the movie theater. So that's another option as well. Like there's lots of ways that you can go about it. I will say something that Landmark did for us, which forever thankful for, they allowed free entry for all support staff.
Yes.
So anybody who was coming in to support the students did not have to pay admission. That was like game changing. Sure. Obviously staff were able to like purchase their own food and that, like Landmark obviously wouldn't cover that cost, but just knowing that we didn't have to worry about the admission for us, which is often paid out of pocket from the school or personally, that was like a huge like relief off of our shoulders, and also got us like a lot more hands on deck that were able to come in and help. We're going back to like episode 2 when you had the vid. Yeah. In the old studio. That's too funny. Also for Jordan and I feel like I'm comfortable saying this now because it is what it is. We used a sick day on our first year because we didn't know how we were possibly going to be able to work with our students and also be at the event. So we had like put aside a sick day that we were like, okay, I guess we're going to call in. And I think we even only used the sick day for the half day so that we could set up. And then in the afternoon, we had to kind of manage our own students in addition to running the event. And it was really hard, but we made it work. And this year we did ask for help. We used our big girl voices and said, listen, we've expanded this event far beyond what we actually think we're capable of. We're terrified and we need somebody to
be with our kids,
so that we don't have to worry about that. So we did, we were covered for this year, which was really nice. We got paid to take the day off. It's not a day off. Might've been the busiest day of the year. But that's your sign to ask for help, because we aren't big asker for helpers. I don't know. No. At all.
No. And you know what was good too? Okay. Because we had a lot of like the board staff come in for different reasons or whatever throughout the year. And it was funny because I remember one time they were like, oh, this person didn't even know this was happening. And we were like, well,
I know. And then we were
like, we supposed to say something?
And honestly, EAs do not plan trips. No. We do not do things like this. So like we don't have like a rule book of like, make sure that you do this and do that and do this. We kind of just told the teacher in our classroom, like, book this day off, book a bus, make sure there's enough budget money to get us there. And we will do the rest kind of thing. And so when somebody way high up in the board in special education was like, what's happening? We were like, are we in trouble?
Right. So we sent everything over and he was great. Like he was honestly, and we saw him
excited
at that event.
The skilled trades something.
Which we could talk about at some point too.
That was a lot of fun. I'd love to volunteer at that next year.
I know, for sure. But we saw him there and I remember going up to him and I'm like, I am so sorry we didn't tell you what we were doing. And he's like, no. Like he said, it's more because we want to brag.
Yeah, we want to bring these things up in our meetings. We want to like bring traction to it. And I was like, oh God, don't invite anybody else. Is what everyone wants to say. I don't know if we can do anymore.
Right.
No, I think next year also it's going to have to be like a 2-day event.
Yes.
I think it's going to either have to be elementary and secondary, or it's going to have to be Whitby, Oshawa, Ajax, Pickering. We'll get there when we get there.
Yeah.
I can't think that far yet.
But the board has reached out to and said, like, we want to know how we can support you next year to make it even bigger and even better, because obviously they saw the growth from year 1 to year 2.
And they were like, oh, they're serious about this. This wasn't just like a random Tuesday event. Yeah. No, we definitely have put in the work, and we want it to become like a thing, an annual thing.
But little do they know, when we come for that meeting, we'll be throwing a bunch of other things.
We're like, so anyways, we have 8 other events, and here's our business card for our podcast. Also, would you like a sweater? Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
The last thing I want to touch on in here before we start talking about how we made it inclusive is choosing the time of when to do the movie. This is the word. Like, I wish that I saved that piece of paper. It's probably still in my car.
Yeah.
I took a Snapchat this morning because everything for the movie event is still in my car because we packed it in my car, and I was like, I can't look at this again until next June. But choosing the time. The first year was just one time.
Yeah.
It was like, and here's the thing. Buses in Durham do route pickup in the morning and route drop off in the afternoon, meaning you have a small window of when those buses are not running and they're able to do charter runs for field trips. That was not easy.
Yeah.
Because
we had to do that for all of Durham.
Yes. So we had to figure out, like, okay, when is the last bus running in the morning? When is the first bus starting in the afternoon? And then something you don't think about is every school in Durham starts at a different time.
Yeah.
It is not across the board. It's not like every school like ours starts at 8:10. We have schools that start at 9:10. We have schools that start at 8:30, 8:45. Some of them are, go till 3:45. Some of them end at 2:40. Like, I was like, holy cow. And to make it even more difficult, it's not like it's like all the Whitby schools start and end at this time. No, they're all over the map. I don't understand it at all. No. Probably for busing purposes, but like that's way above my pay grade.
Complete chaos.
It's awful. Like, it was so bad. So then we were geographically grouping them, being like, okay, we'll get a bus to do this, and then realizing that every single one of those schools started at a different time.
Yeah, yeah. And this was us, like, Sophie being like, okay, this school, where is it? And I'd pull it up on my map, and she'd write it down, and then she'd be like, what about this one? Okay, these two could go together. But wait, this one's on the same street. So no. This one has to go with somebody else.
It was so bad. Have you ever seen that meme of the guy who's like pointing at the bulletin board and all like the strings are like attached? Like, that was like me. We had Bristol board. We had like big newsprint that we were like, okay, mapping this out, mapping that out. So basically we ended up doing 4 different overlapping show times in 4 different theaters with 8 different buses.
Yeah.
And it was like, theater 1 starts at 10 o'clock. 2 schools are busing together. The other 2 schools are busing together. And then same kind of thing. So each theater kind of had 4 schools in it.
And
ish.
Yes, ish. I think a couple had 5.
I think a couple had 5. And then they would either take a smaller bus or they would public transit or they would jump on another bus.
Yeah.
That we made quite clear that we were like, the transportation, unfortunately, is on you.
Yeah.
We grouped them, though.
We say that, but you should have seen all the transportation. Like, there was, like, these are the suggestions of who you should bus with. Here's the contact of who you need to reach out to organize. So don't act like it wasn't really just all of them. I should pull up the package.
We sent out a package that had clickable links that were like, click here to fill out your order form, and then click here to fill out the form of how many adults are attending and how many children are attending. And here's your start time and here's your bus partner. So all they really needed to do was actually contact their bus partner and then call the bus company. The fact that it was a PDF with clickable links was so funny.
Yeah.
And like, sometimes we would still get a question and I was like, refer to the packet. It's in the packet. Click the link. And like, I felt bad. My patients at the end, I was like, refer to the packet.
No, even some of the educators were so funny because they'd ask a question and we would copy and paste the answer that we already sent out. Or be like, did you look in the package? Did you this? Or like stuff like that.
Circling back to the packet.
And they would write back and be like, with all the planning you have to do, I am so sorry that you also had to deal with me.
But also in June, like, everybody's brains are off. So like, I get it. But we also started planning this in January.
Yes, we started in January, and also
we sent out the packet by March.
Yeah.
The infamous packet.
But also, like, the big stuff we were on leaves for.
Oh my God.
Which was like, we were doing all of this on our leaves.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally, I was sitting at home on bereavement leave, like crying and like mapping out buses. I was like, this is like so much. So like, I feel like next year will be even better because we might both be more emotionally stable to run it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'll be freshly back to work, so it'll be good.
So anyways, it was a bit of a gong show. It worked out. So that's kind of the planning portion. I'm also wondering, like, I feel like I should link this packet somewhere because just so you can see the amount of effort that went into it.
Yeah.
But in the next segment, we're going to get into like how we made it inclusive from beginning to end. Now that all the chaos stuff is done with. Okay, so our next segment, we're going to talk about how we made it inclusive. Obviously, if you've been to the movies, it's probably one of the most overstimulating places that you could attend, even as someone who is neurotypical. So the first thing that we were really concerned about was like sensory consideration. So like, how do we make this a little bit more manageable and make it also that it's not the only option, the only space that they have?
Yes.
So starting with that, we obviously asked to have the lights a little bit higher, just for like vision purposes, being able to come in and out of the theater as you wish, and lowering the volume a little bit. And we did have also like, which I appreciate, people advocate. Like people would come out and be like, it's too loud. Can you turn it down? And we were like, okay. No problem. Like that's what this is all about, like advocacy. Like please let us know so that we can do better. And also that may have been lost in translation to like an employee being like, turn it down, and they think, this much, but we need it like way down.
And they were on it. Like the second we went to them and said like, this theater still says it's a little bit too loud. Yeah. They were like running back to make sure, like to ask us tell us if that is better or whatever. And like the educators would come out and be like, it's perfect. Like, so it was great.
We were like, we welcome all of the feedback because obviously, and each like class is different. Each theater might have been at a different volume, and it's just whatever works for that group of kiddos. Obviously they were allowed to bring any of their fidgets, noise canceling headphones. That arm is killing me. Anything that they needed to keep themselves regulated were completely fine. As I'm saying that, I'm realizing I still have a Chewy in my car.
Yes, that was left behind.
And I'm pretty sure somebody emailed me about that to courier that. I will get it to you in September. Like anything like that, jewelry, noise canceling headphones, anything, totally fine to have there.
But we also said even like if they need their iPads, let them bring their iPads. Like as much as like this is an experience for them, we want it to be a positive experience for them. And if that means that they can only get through half the movie and then they need to watch or play a game on their iPad, then let them do it.
Who cares? Yeah. It's like an end of the year celebration. Like we're not here to force you to watch this movie if you're not that into it.
No.
Also allowing noise and movement. You want to get up and jump? Do it.
Do you?
You want to yell and, get excited? Do it. Yeah. Like obviously we do social stories, which we'll talk about more, where it's like, other people may want to watch the movie. So like, let's try and use our inside voice. But if you are squealing from excitement, that makes me happy. We had mentioned like literally it was like a symphony of stimming. Like we were getting all of the best happy noises. And like, that's what we want to hear. That's the goal of this. Yeah. And when you do that in a typical theater with like a whole bunch of people, like you may get looks and stuff like that, but that's not what this is for. This is for you. Like it is okay for you to do that. Yeah. So I guess going off of that, visual supports. So our social story, we've done one both years.
Yeah.
And that we try to get that out at least, I think this year it was tight, but at least a week before.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we, in our minds, wanted it out a little bit even before that. But again, for sure, we were both on leaves while this was all going down. So
exactly.
It got out about a week before, but it was, I think it was good. We make sure that it's very like tailored to whatever movie we're seeing. So like we make sure there's a picture of the movie on the screen in the social story, and like
what does the poster look like, and like the characters, and just even talking about like from the school, like you will line up to get on a bus. The bus will take you here. After the movie is all done, you will go back to your school. Like we really do the entire day, so that there is no surprises and that they're as prepared as possible before going into an unfamiliar situation.
Yeah. And we will probably have a similar social story on our Teachers Pay Teachers at some point.
Yeah, definitely. Because this is an event that we hope to, get out there and like help other people run, do it in other boards. Like I think, especially because Landmark is like a chain, it would be so nice if we could partner with them to like make these inclusive movie days happen and kind of help guide them through it. I would also, side note, like to partner with some kind of sensory company to have noise canceling headphones available for next year.
That would be amazing.
Like to see if we could like, I don't know, post for them or, you know, shout them out and have them available for, you know, maybe the students who don't typically use them, but didn't expect for this to happen kind of thing. And they need that support. We have visuals. We use a first, then next.
Yeah, we make giant ones.
Usually outside of each theater. Basically just say like first, what is it? First, get your snacks. Then find your seat. Like enjoy the movie or something like that. And we use like characters from the movie because we know a lot of the kids follow visual schedules or a first, then next, whatever.
We always get that.
That's the great debate in our, it's a great debate. We don't know which one it is. So we have that available for them if it's not something that their educators can bring for every single one of their students. First year we didn't do it this year, but first year we did glow sticks as well. And we had them like color coded by school so that you could see like, okay, I should have like 12 green glow sticks in this row and it's easier to find them. This year we just had too many that it wasn't something that we were able to do. But that's also another thing that you could put into play. Something we just discussed before that we literally just realized we didn't do this. Closed captioning.
Oh, yes.
So as far as I know, we didn't do that, which is so funny to us that we didn't do that because we do have kids who are hard of hearing in our class that I'm like, how was that the thing that we missed? So during reflection, we've realized that definitely next year we'll reach out to Landmark to see if there's a way to get a closed caption version, which we would just play in all the theaters, I think. Like we don't need it just specifically.
No. Yeah.
I watch subtitles.
I put them on all the time.
I can't watch the TV without it.
I'm the exact same way.
Accessibility features. So wheelchair accessible seating we needed, which
we did have some schools reach out, and we obviously encourage schools to let us know if they
in advance,
require like seating like that, or specific like because some of them come with strollers and we did have a little bit. It worked out. It worked out, but we did have some come in where we weren't aware that they required specific seating, and the way that we go in to set everything up before they get there, we have schools seated in specific areas. So it ended up working out because I think the school that hadn't let us know was sitting near the front. So
exactly.
We made it work.
And we also like make it known that like if the space that we have provided for you isn't working and there's another space that works better for you, do it. You want to sit on the stairs? Go right ahead. Obviously, we will offer you a seat. We will offer you a section. But if you find it better to be sitting on the floor at the front, or maybe you're bouncing on a ball at the front, that's totally fine. It's like whatever works for you. We did have the additional theater that we used. So that was, I think, the first year we had it directly across from where we were watching the movie. And then this year we just had one that was available for all 4 theaters. Something we will do going forward, I think, will be trying to have something sensory being able to play on the screen. There are like really great YouTube videos that you can watch. There is just like sensory videos or like the Hey Bear sensory. And it would be really nice if we could like even download one and bring that with us and say like, hey, do you mind sticking this USB somewhere and playing this just on a loop? That way it's not only like a quiet space, but there is some kind of like stimulation there and calming effect.
I remember when we did ask for it this time, but it was very last minute. Like we were at the theater and I was like, is there any way we could put like bubbles on the screen or something?
Yes. Exactly.
But they were like it wasn't planned, so they didn't have anything available.
So I feel like that's another piece that we'll definitely want to add. I would like to think that our signage was pretty clear. Like we had things about where you go, whatever, and we'll talk a little bit about that when we talk about our day of the event and how it kind of went on. And so communication with families, we sent out the social stories, which I believe were shared with families. If they weren't, they were run down in the classroom. Really simple, inclusive language. It was very like fun and exciting. I think we put like some music behind it and got people excited about the event. And them having that link, they had access to that to watch it as many times as they needed or print it out and bring it with them if they needed. And like we mentioned, we were inviting feedback and questions at any point during the planning process because we really wanted to make sure that the event was completely tailored to the audience that was coming. Like the school that didn't like reach out about the wheelchair accessibility. Like next year, I think even a week in advance, being like last call. Like anything that you specifically need. Do you need wheelchair accessibility? Do you need us to bring fidget toys that you cannot bring? Do you need a paper copy of the social story? Just so we can be 100% prepared. I think. I think for the most part we did pretty good, but always room to improve, right? So now we can talk about the actual event, the day. Oh. Stressful day in my life. No. So good.
Definitely getting there was
I like
anxiety.
It feels like Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
In my stomach the night before this event every year.
Yeah.
Like the knots in my stomach. My best friend Al slept over because, and we talked about her last episode, because I was like, I need someone in event planning to tell me if everything I've done has made any sense at all. So like, we don't do this for a job. And I think we met there in the morning. Mm-hmm. We probably voice noted for 3 hours prior to the event.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, and showed up there around. That's also another weird thing. We don't go to school first, right? So like the kids there. Our buses are covered. The kids are dealing. We got there maybe like 8:30.
I think I was a little late.
I remember you were banging on the door because it was locked.
Yes.
And I was already like fully, like almost all the snacks for like the first one were done.
Yeah.
So basically we arrived early, we set up our signage and got like any sensory supports that we needed laid out. But the snacks, we haven't even talked about the snacks.
No.
Every single one of those 400 people got a snack pack that was pre-ordered. It was part of the packet, where they needed to choose a drink, choose Skittles or Smarties, and then they got popcorn.
So Landmark gave us a form. I'll tell you kind of like, this goes back into the planning portion of it, but Landmark gives us like a pre-order form. Mm-hmm. So they would go through and pick their stuff for each of their kids. We also made visual like menu.
Yes, we did.
For the kids to be able to
circle. It was like a choice board. Like what point to what you want kind of thing.
So that they could order what they wanted.
Yeah.
But then also, aside from the order form that Landmark gives us, we also had a tracking form to help us stay organized. So we had a separate tracking, which they also, like in the package, they had to fill out what their order form was for Landmark. And then they just had to go and put it with like the kid's name. So it would say like, I'm throwing a kid's name out there that I don't know of. But like it would say like Clark.
Griswold? Anyway.
I don't know why that name came to me. Clark is getting a root beer and Skittles and popcorn.
Yeah.
So that when we were putting all of these things together on the day of, they were done and organized by school. So it said this Clark
Elementary.
And then Clark would be getting, like, his snack pack was under the school's name. But then it would also have a label on the actual snack pack so that the teachers knew exactly whose it was. Yeah. So they didn't have to worry about, oh no, who ordered this, who ordered that.
Yes.
Like, so yes, we asked a lot of these educators as far as like giving us information, but it was only so that the day of was so smooth.
Yeah. So basically, we'd prepared. So every single school had a duotang, and in the duotang was the Landmark order form, the order form with all the students' names and their order, and name stickers with the name of every student in there. And then that was put together in a bundle of like Theater 1, Theater 2, Theater 3, Theater 4 with their start time on it and when their buses were arriving. So basically we need to shout out our volunteers before we go any further, because they did all of this because we did not have the mental capacity to take on literally any of this.
No.
So my best friend Al, she was doing, setting up all the theaters and basically like putting out signs where everybody was going to sit, counting out the amount of seats that each school needed. So we had my best friend Al, we had my sister-in-law Victoria, her friend Alessia, my cousin Emma, Danielle, who was my like childhood neighbor, your Aunt Lisa, and your husband Dee. Mm-hmm. And all of them were at our beck and call. We were like, sorry, you must commit and you like, must run.
Bossy. Like, I don't think I've ever bossed my husband around the way that I was.
I was like trying to be chill, but I had like upper lip sweat. I was like, so everything's great, but just like, I need you to hurry. No, they were so good. So basically we gave them each like a chunk of duotangs and we were like, here you go. That. Yeah, I need you to make 400 snack packs and I need you to put the names on them. I need you whatever. And they did this with very, very little direction at all. And it's funny because my other best friend Steph did it the year before, I think by herself.
It was just her. It was just the three of us.
And I remember leaving her. Like I literally remember being like, so anyways, I think this is what we should do. Bye. And then we like went and set up the theaters. Thank God we have people in our life that are like crazy enough to like go along with our ideas. And like they always have so much fun and they're so happy about it. But yeah, we need to shout out our volunteers. The snack packs was like the biggest thing.
Yeah.
But we got all of them done, I think, before anyone arrived.
Yeah.
And
it was good because like the staff, Landmark staff were also great.
Yes.
But we were so organized that we're like, hey, get us this. Like they had their order forms.
Yeah.
But our tracking forms were just so straightforward.
Yes.
That it was probably easier to read in that sense.
Yes.
So it was like we told them what they needed. They went and got carts and filled it all up, and we just did it.
And like having them on the carts was really helpful too, because then our volunteers our volunteers also had a sign in their duotang.
Yeah.
More paper in the duotang.
Yeah.
So they would hold it up with the name of the school on it. And then that school would meet them. They would direct them to their snacks, put them on a cart, roll the cart to their place in the theater, and then set them down. And we didn't play the movie until everybody was in. I think we were actually ahead of schedule. Like I think a lot of the times.
all of the movies, and just and one of the Al's. Thanks, Al. One of her techniques was when we put all of the signs in the theaters, because originally before anybody got there, we had already known who was going in what theaters.
Yeah.
But we went and put signs on the seats and like organized it. So we knew this school needed 20 seats and this school needed, so we went and like counted out the 20 seats, and then the next school would start and then we'd count out however many seats they needed in the next. So also what it did was we, on those signs with our volunteers on the back, it also said what theater the school was in and what seats the school took up.
Yeah, we couldn't have done it without that like crucial piece. And she would, so literally like the volunteers would pick up the sign and it would be like theater 12, A4 to like this, whatever. Yeah. So then the volunteers knew exactly where they were going.
Yeah.
And they would even like park I remember seeing your husband do this, park the cart and like run up and down the stairs to bring their snack pack so that like the staff didn't need to carry it once they were getting the kids settled.
Yeah.
And then once all the kids were settled, we did like a brief announcement, or we tried to. We were just like, thanks so much for coming. Like this has grown from like 96 people to like 400 people, and we hope it only gets bigger, whatever. I will never forget our first year doing it.
Oh,
our first year doing it, our class, he was like, those are my teachers. Like one of our students. And I was like, I could cry right now. And this year I was missing
us
that.
On, like,
this year I was like, but everyone was so thankful, and people were like, can you say thank you? And I was like, honestly, I was like teary whenever we did those like moments. So we did our welcome announcements, whatever. And then basically we just would, set up that one, and then we get ready for the next one. But because they were overlapping, there was one point where all four of them, all theaters, were just watching their movies and eating. And Jordan and I were like, you want to get a Diet Coke and nachos? And we actually like sat down for a second.
Yeah, because I don't think we specifically said this, but the way the timing went was like, if the first school arrived at 9:30, they came at 9:30, they got their snacks, and they were in their theater by 10 for a 10 o'clock start.
Yes.
At that 10 o'clock start, the next school would show up to pick up their snacks.
Yeah.
So there was never a point where like there was
staggered entry.
Two groups. Yeah. There was never a point where it was like over like too many schools out in the front. It was only the group that was coming for their movie start that was out there getting their snacks.
And if they arrived earlier, then we had to kind of explain, like, listen, this staggered start has been done for a reason. We're going to need you to just hold tight for a minute until we can set up the next one, and then we'll get you very soon. But for the most part, the timing went really well. I think we were ahead of schedule, and everybody got settled like quite quickly. Yeah. And once we're all in there, we like actually got to chill for a bit. Volunteers got a chance to either they could leave at that point or they could watch the movie, which is really nice. And then we had a chance to talk to some families, which was great. This one parent talked to me and sent me, I was like,
that father was
I had to walk away. He was like, I just wanted to say thank you. Like, my son has never been invited to a birthday party before. We've never done anything like this. Like, this is our first time. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, this is for him. Yeah. Like, this is for him. This is why we do these things. And, following up with them at the end, like, the child had a fantastic time and did so well. And we had another parent. Remember that one parent at the end? And it was the mom. First time moviegoer, first time really out in the community doing something like recreational or like leisurely.
Yeah.
She was so nervous coming in, so nervous, and kept being like, what happens? And I was like, take a breath.
Yeah.
We have an extra space for you. If he's making noise, perfect. If he's enjoying it, great.
Yeah.
Anything that you need, we are here. You want a break, you need to go to the bathroom, we'll take them. No problem. Like whatever you need. And, seeing them leave, she was like, I think I'll bring them back.
Yeah.
And that's all we want.
Yeah. And that's even when we did it last year, that was like one of our, I think, motivating pieces too, was because we had one of our own parents when we talked about going to the movies. You could tell she was a little bit like,
I don't know
and
about
she's like,
that.
I've never thought to take him to the movies. I don't know how he'll do. I'm like, well, now's the time.
Yep.
And he was phenomenal in the movie.
So good.
I remember he was so good.
So good.
And even after this movie, because now this was the second one he had attended, and now he's graduated. But even after the movie, again, mom, like you could just tell it was like a different, like mom just like, okay, I'm picking him up, like from his movie experience.
From his movie, loves the movie.
That's just what he does.
Like they never, like some of these parents had never thought to even attempt a movie. Yeah. But if you can do it for the first time in a sensory friendly environment and let them know that it's familiar, even if you're going the next time and it's maybe not as quiet, not as bright, you can prep for that now and be like, do you remember that time that we went and we did this and whatever? And they know what to expect now. So maybe that overstimulation piece won't be as scary, right? Because you've already experienced it.
And you know, the thing is, with over 400 people attending, I don't know exactly the count of kids that we had, but I think maybe 1 or 2 kids didn't stay in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like many more kids stayed in the theaters than didn't. And the ones that didn't, we were like, all right, no problem.
Yeah. And I think most of the ones that didn't stay in the theater just needed a little walk.
Yep.
You know,
some movement.
And for the most part, and because I like in my mind, I'm like, okay, and as a parent, you find out maybe it's not for them.
Yeah.
But to be honest, it was for almost every child.
It was for a lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we know that like screen time is a big thing now. But the movies is a completely different experience than watching something on an iPad. But giving them the experience to go to the movies, do this community event, it might have been unfamiliar, but there are elements of it that are familiar. They're like, oh, okay, I like to watch videos on my iPad. Maybe I'd like this kind of thing. So it was really awesome. Yeah. I think reflection-wise, it went really well.
For sure.
I think there's a few things we would change. We said we would do closed captioning for sure for next year. Maybe send out something as like a final week before checklist, like accessibility wise. Like, did you let us know if you need this? Did you let us know if you need that? I would like to, in case anyone's listening, I'd like to partner with some businesses or things next year that might be able to help us with things like signage. Help us. Amazing. So amazing. Because like I said, like Jordan and I, no problem. Like we run this event because we love it, but we do pay out of pocket to get the signage made and do different things like that. So partnering in the community for things like signage, partnering with the community for things like sensory equipment, even if it's just renting it or borrowing it, having these kinds of things available so that the schools aren't having to lug so much stuff. Yeah.
But I'm also learning so much now just in my other business about sponsorship. And like I've never I don't think really thought to ask people to sponsor things, but now that I've done it for my photography business, like I think I'd be more comfortable reaching out, and asking.
If you don't ask, you don't get.
No,
like we wouldn't have even got paid for that day if we didn't ask. Yeah, and I think we're getting to the point now where we're wanting to grow our business, we're wanting to grow the podcast, we're wanting to grow our events. And sometimes you can't do that by yourself.
No,
we have a wonderful community in Durham region that I think there's a lot of people that would want to help out with that. So that is definitely something that we could do, and obviously, like we want to encourage like replicating this in other schools or districts or areas, and with our help or with our guidance, we would like this to be a thing. Yeah, it's an annual thing for us, but I think it would be nice for it to be a big thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. So in the next segment, we're going to go through some Q&As, some questions about our inclusive movie day. All right. So our last segment here is listener Q&A, and we are going to go over some questions about our inclusive movie day. We got about 4 questions that we're going to go over. And then if we think of any on the way, we'll try and answer them. Question number 1. Hello. What if the theater says no to sensory adjustments?
Then find a new theater.
That is not what we want. It's not the point. It's not where we are giving our money. We are not giving our money to somewhere that's like, oh no. Yeah. We cannot turn the volume down to accommodate your students with autism.
No.
We're not giving our money there.
The whole purpose of this is to find a space that's inclusive and creates and allows these kids that we work with to be authentically themselves and feel safe doing it.
And if you can't find one, make it. Like we just said, we almost did it in our gym because we knew we had a sensory room. Like a lot of schools in Durham have a stage that's even like attached to their gym. You could very easily make that space a sensory space and make your gym the movie space. No. You can also, like we talked about, reach out to community centers, libraries, like places that are maybe a little bit more open to accommodation. But she's like, I have an answer for you. But anyways, long story short, that's not obviously where you want to give your money. So next, good question though. Next question. How do I manage behavioral needs during the movie? Yenna, why don't you tell us? There's a child crying.
Myself on mute.
Perfect. Great. Okay, obviously we like to be proactive. We want to have supports in place. You want to already have your quiet zone, your break area. You need your volunteers to understand what they might be coming in contact with. You might have crying, you might have outbursts, you might have people running up and down the hallway, and that's okay. Just being prepared for that to happen, having social stories ahead of time, having visuals, all that stuff is ways you can prep for it. However, if these things happen in the movie, that's okay. The point is that they have a place and an outlet where they're able to express themselves. As long as you are prepared and you have all the things ready to support them in those moments, then that's the best you can do. We're not expecting this to be a perfect experience, especially for a lot of these kids when it is their first experience at the movies. So that's what I would say. I would say be as prepared as you can in general, be as prepared as you can as the educators bringing them specifically, and that's pretty much all you can do. You're like, yes, I agree. This one is a good one because we did have this come up. How do I include students who don't like movies at all? Okay. Obviously, we have the quiet space that we had spoken about before, and offering other optional quiet activities. Like Jordan had mentioned before, it's okay for some of them to be bringing their iPad. If they only make it through half the movie, then obviously that's totally fine. If they have fidget toys, if they have coloring, if they have something else that they would rather do, perfect. We do really encourage like the parallel play. They are with us and doing their own thing. When we talk about inclusion, we're not forcing participation. We want them to be included, obviously, so we give them the option to come. Do they have to come? No. And we have done that before, where we have had parents be like, we've done the movies. They weren't a huge fan of it. Not really something they're interested in. They're more of like a kinesthetic, like gross motor kiddo. They don't have to come.
No.
We're not forcing them to come to something that they don't want to do. And if they do choose to come and their parents want them to try it, then we just have other options available for them. We sometimes will bring like a cart with us when we go on trips that has iPads, putty, fidget toys, anything that they might want to use if they just need a break from the movie. And the last one, what if it's their first public outing? What if they've never been in the community before? Obviously prep. We've talked about that before. You can prep with mini outings. Maybe, when this is communicated to parents, maybe you drive by the theater first and say, this is where you're going to be going with your families. Using the social story as a preview, going over the social story as often as you can, and just flexibility and grace, I think.
Yeah.
She's like, ditto. Totally fine. She's just chatting. It's all good.
I'm so sorry. We just are going to learn to roll with the punches when it comes to this sweet girl, right?
She's another co-host.
Yeah.
We'll need to get her own headphones and her own mic. But basically, if it's their first outing, that's okay. That's kind of the point. That's what we talked to a lot of parents about. A lot of the parents who were super nervous, we were like, it's a-okay. This is the best place to have their first outing so that you can hopefully get them out there without all of the supports eventually. But we do everything to prep and prime them the best that we can. Thank you guys so much for listening to our Lights Camera Inclusion episode. Yenna's chilling now. If you have any other Q&As, you can always go into the link in our Instagram bio. You can put your questions in there. We answer questions at the end of every episode. So thank you guys for joining us for the deep dive into our inclusive community building. We'll talk about all the other things that we have planned because we have all the plans, don't we?
So many plans.
Jordan, where can we find you on social media?
At Jordan Fine Photography or at Inspired by Studios.
Perfect. And you can find me at Inclusive Inspirations, which is my special education account, or you can find us at what is this called? Inspired by Chaos Pod. On Instagram. Just a reminder, if you're listening on Spotify, please follow us on here, subscribe, and you can also subscribe on YouTube. That helps us a lot. Follow, review, share, comment, let us know your thoughts, and we will see you next episode for our back to school special. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.